So, Tariq Nasheed on the No Jumper, part 2, coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And as always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So I want to go into part 2 of the interview that Tariq Nasheed did when he was on the No Jumper podcast, in the particular segment of that interview that I particularly covered, the 4-minute video that I covered. So without further ado, let's get back to this interview.
Because when we deal with the Republicans, we just have to deal with old school white supremacists. Yeah. So what they'll do, they'll stand across the street and throw darts at you. I can duck some of those darts, but with the left-wing white supremacists, they get right up on you. I'm your buddy, and then they slowly put the knife in you while they're telling you they're tickling you. So with the left-wingers, we got to deal with the white supremacists, the anti-black Asians, the anti-black Hispanics, the anti-black LGBT people, and then unfortunately a lot of anti-FBA immigrants coming from Africa and the Caribbean. So we have to deal with a plethora of anti-FBA bigotry from so many left-wing groups.
Okay, what exactly are these darts that the Republicans are throwing at black people? I need to know what would this be? You know, I need him to elaborate on exactly what these darts are that the Republicans are throwing. Like I said, had I been part of the show, I would have absolutely asked him that, because oftentimes when these people start interviewing, these race hustlers start spewing that nonsense, nobody really checks them on it. Of course, but then again, this is an interview, not a debate. But had I been there, I would have most certainly asked him to elaborate on that. And then I do agree with him that the Democrats pose a danger to black people. No doubt about that. Leftist policy in itself is insane, and it creates nothing but problems. But that's to America in general, not just blacks. Okay, that's not just black people that Democratic policy are dangerous to. And as far as those, these quote-unquote anti-black groups, I just want to know, how are these groups anti-black? What is anti-black? How are white people, Asian people, Hispanic people, and of course the tethers, how are they anti-black? What exactly are they doing to stop any quote-unquote FBA from achieving anything in United States of America? I just need to know what is this alleged anti-blackness, because that's, again, you need to elaborate on these things, and that's something he doesn't really do much of, and people don't really require of it.
There's this whole new industry that's basically popped up where you have authors like Robin DiAngelo writing books like White Fragility and stuff, where basically in a lot of corporate environments, white women in particular, but white people in general, are being basically forced to confront the horrors of their whiteness. And to a lot of white people like myself, they look at this and just think, this is the stupidest, most performative bullshit I could ever imagine. This seems like it exists solely to just make these white people feel okay about their people's history.
Okay, well, white people today have absolutely nothing to apologize for, or nobody to apologize to. They didn't participate in what happened in the past, okay? White people today did not participate in slavery. They didn't own any slavery. They weren't alive. The overwhelming majority of white people today did not participate in segregation, Jim Crow. They weren't alive. So you don't have to apologize to anyone. So I would suggest all the white people don't apologize for a damn thing, because you didn't do nothing. You have nothing to apologize for. Now, there's nothing about the past that's just relevant to today that white people today have any responsibility for. So stop apologizing. Apologizing is not going to make black folks better, and it's not going to solve any problem. All it's going to do is just make the race hustlers basically go deeper with it. Just make them do more crime and keeping black folks angry and race. So stop apologizing, white people, because you have nothing to apologize for.
Do you look at that stuff as kind of absurd, or do you think that this is in some way like an important step for white people?
That's going into that CRT stuff. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's just same as the CRT.
For those that doesn't know what CRT is, they just stand for critical race theory. And critical race theory is basically the study of how race and ethnicity are impacted by social ethics and laws. So in other words, how different races and or different basically ethnic groups are impacted by the laws and in the culture and social dynamics of society. Essentially what it is. Now, honestly, all it is just an excuse to inject race hustle into the classroom, mostly into colleges, but also into high school, and it's all throughout education. It's just a means of being able to race hustle in the classroom. That's just simply all it is. Again, but it seems to me that he doesn't really know what CRT is, or maybe my understanding of what it is wrong. But I always thought it was just simply studying the social dynamics of how race impacts, people impacted based upon your race and your ethnicity.
Which basically means don't talk about white history. Don't talk about what we're doing socially. What happens is you have white people on the jobs who will go in here and they'll start mouthing some of that Fox News stuff, and black people run down to HR like, oh my God, this person is making me uncomfortable. And then these white people are getting reprimanded. They don't like that. And in schools, if you tell the truth about some of these people that they're teaching us, they're like, well, that's critical race theory. How's it critical race theory? And I'm just telling the truth about this guy who you're teaching me about. He was a white supremacist, So they're saying you can't make the white kids feel uncomfortable. You dig?
Yeah.
So it gets into a bunch of I'm white and I say so stuff.
Again, this is not what CRT is. That's not what CRT. Again, I just don't think he sees and knows what CRT is. I mean, CRT means don't talk about white history. Yet, whenever you hear about critical race theory, all it is bringing up white history. And again, the same race hustle about how bad the white man is and history of America. So he's just babbling as usual. I mean, as he always does, just babble on, saying absolutely nothing. Again, just the male Cynthia G says absolutely nothing. But he just makes sure he says white supremacy at least once a minute. But like I said, man, the more I'm listening to Tariq Nasheed, I'm be honest, the more and more I'm starting to put him in the same situation as Dr. Umar Johnson. The difference is, I believe that Dr. Umar Johnson believes all this foolishness he's saying. I think he really do believe that. That's why he's an idiot. Tariq Nasheed, he's just saying all this stuff to make money off of race. Tariq Nasheed don't believe half the crap he's saying, and he really doesn't say anything regardless what he believes. Anyway, y'all, that's my breakdown of that 4-minute segment. I really wouldn't want to go into much of that video because, like I said, if it was an hour interview, I'd probably need 7, 8, 10 hours of content just to cover it all, because every word that comes out of his mouth is absolute BS. But anyway, y'all, as always, until next time.